I gotta be in the lineup for this one. And RC, man, it was pretty much all Kansas in this one. They win the game pretty handily, you would say. In this one, Darryn Peterson had 17 in his return. This Kansas team performed pretty well in his absence, you would have to say. Now they're
Right.
back. How dangerous is this Kansas team with Peterson back in the lineup?
Let me say this. I think they've been the most impressive team without that star, knowing how important he is to this group. To see how they played without him, I thought Kansas, and there's not many teams you can say, take your number one guy off. You take Caleb Wilson off Carolina, then you're not having the season they've had so far. You take, Devanza off BYU, then that's good. So credit to Bill Self and the rest in that crew, man. I mean, they've held it down without him, and you can see he's special. You can see how gifted and talented he is. With all the hypes about, let's hope he returns. I mean, he left this game as well. Let's hope it's no re-aggravation of a hamstring or anything else. So the fingers crossed that he's back, he's practicing, he's healthy. Maybe they just rested him because they were in total control and no fear of losing this game. But what he brings is a much-needed ability to score from the perimeter, and he makes the game so much easier for everyone else. So, he's their most talented player. He's their best player. Them being that good without him, I think he's huge for them because of, again, what he brings. And now he gets to play himself back in. They didn't dig themselves in a major hole to force him to have to play. So let's just hope he's all right. And if he is, I expect Kansas to shoot up in the rankings.
Justin, to that point about what Kansas did without Darryn Peterson, obviously beating Tennessee, and they were right there in it with UConn. I don't think relative to Kansas standards, anybody would ever accuse this Kansas team of being the most talented. Like, it's not, you get past Peterson, it's not just littered with lottery picks or anything like that. But obviously, they came together in his absence. Like, what allows that? Is that coaching? Is that culture? Is that like just having the right guys? Like, just what enables that to happen when a guy like Peterson is out?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a mixture. I mean, for one, it just gives guys more freedom, right? Like you can probably take a few more shots that you wouldn't shoot if Darryn Peterson was on the floor. Maybe some of the plays that are being ran for him are now you're getting a couple touches off of those plays. So you have that, but I think a big part of it too is coaching, right? It's kind of always hear people say the next man up mentality, but I look at a guy like Trey White, right, who was kind of obviously he was a good basketball player coming in, but heavily overshadowed by, and once again rightfully so, Darryn Peterson. And now you look at kind of what he's done since his absence, and even in this game. Now you bring a guy like Darryn Peterson back in, who at the end of the day, the best players, one of the jobs of the best players to allow everybody else to kind of play their role. Right now, guys don't have to play outside of what they do. So now with Darryn Peterson back, now Trey White can still have the same confidence doing what he does, but with less attention, probably more space. You saw a bunch of times, heck, in this game, Darryn Peterson there was two or three guys that converged on him whenever he drove, and it was an easy kick out for whoever was on the perimeter. So I think there's never a time when bringing a guy like Darryn Peterson back hurts. But having him now with the guys with the confidence that they have in going in those games that you talk about, I mean, this team could be pretty good.
Absolutely.
They can defend. The way they defend, John, I mean, the way they defend guys, they're going to be in games. They got size on the, on the perimeter. They got rim protection. They're going to be in games. It's been a different guy with them, whether it was Jackson, whether it was Council. It was always a different guy. It took less pressure off Trey White when he comes back, but they needed him. I mean, hell, today there was even a Bryson Tiller sighting. He's the one guy I think if he steps up, and makes perimeter shots, what he does to that team changes things as well. I think everybody will get better looks offensively with the talent like Peterson on the team when he, with him being back. Again, they're going to defend. This team is tougher. They're just a get downhill, drive it team. But again, having Peterson back makes it easier for everyone else. I think it'll get the shooting better because the guys will get open looks. So Kansas is battle tested, man. They're going to be there when it matters. They're tough as hell, but they need their guy like everyone does.
Yeah, RC, I'm gonna come back to you because it's crazy. We're talking about, and I agree fundamentally too. Like, if he's in the lineup, they're going to end up being, I think, a contender by the end of the year. But it's crazy that you can look out And like, if you just go by KenPom, Kansas is 5th in the Big 12. Like, that's how loaded this league is.
Right.
And so I guess I would just ask you, we're just using KenPom projections right now. Like, can they finish better than 5th in the Big 12, which, by the way, is not bad. I mean, when you look at, again, the teams we're talking about, Houston, Arizona, Iowa State, what they did to Purdue, but can they outperform that current projection by the end of the year, you think, in 5th in the Big 12?
I think they could. The problem is how healthy is Darryn Peterson going to be? They need him. I mean, you can't afford any injuries with him. Houston, we know, is going to be there. Iowa State, man, I mean, they're right there.
Ooh,
Texas Tech, we know, is going to be right there. I mean, Arizona is probably #1 team in the country. So it's not a bad thing if they're 5th. I mean, we're not talking about it's not out of the realm. It's not like
it's just crazy to say that, though. Kansas 5th in the Big 12.
Yeah.
You know, like
when we were talking, when we said this before. Last week, Rob and I were on and we were talking, and Rob said he thought the Big Ten was the best conference, and I was like, and I kind of was like, the Big 12 isn't far behind, and it's just it's just now just because of Purdue, what Iowa State did to Purdue, it swings the pendulum toward the Big 12. But I've been a Big 12 fan. I mean, that's it's been a long time since Kansas has been picked 5th, but when you look at the rest of the league, I mean, I there's not an argument to be made. But if they want to improve on that, they're going to have to get healthy, and Darryn Peterson's got to get reps and start continuing his development as he move forward. So if healthy, they got a shot, because most times than not, when will he not be the best player on the floor when they play?
Absolutely.
I think it's the question. And if you got him and he's the best player on the floor, you got a chance to beat anybody. So I don't care what who they're playing, Houston, Iowa State, any of those guys, he's going to be the best player on the floor, the most talented player on the floor. And if he plays to that talent and is the best player on the floor, then it becomes the way Kansas defends, then they can beat anybody. So, and they've proven that without him. But he's that elite of a talent as he continues to improve. So, yeah, I mean, they could, but his health depends on that.
People would argue, by the way, that probably the only game where that would be a debate would be BYU, where he's not maybe the most talented player on the floor. I don't know where you're at on that, on the GM hat. I think I'm a Debanza guy if I'm picking one, but reasonable people can disagree. That's the whole thing. I mean, and the whole point is that, he's one of the, 2 most talented guys in the sport. By the way, we're talking about the Big